only thing standing in the way of the end of the world is me and my sidekicks.
Are you serious?
What is up, comic comrades? It's that rare time of the year again where we're gifted with a new Marvel movie. Oh, wait, who am I kidding? They're releasing them almost every month now. November is Eternals flavor, and I'm here to tell you how powerful every one of them is. Stay tuned until the end of the video. Don't forget to click that like button, subscribe, and unite with that notification bell. The Marvel Cinematic Universe gives us a whole new batch of heroes to an Earth that already feels overrun with superpowered types. But it also gives these new additions a very specific agenda that explains why they haven't shown up in the last 25 Marvel movies. The Celestial Arishem put the Eternals on Earth and ordered them to stay out of humanity's beeswax apart from fighting Deviants, the shape-changing monstrosities that might otherwise take over the planet. All the Eternals have different abilities related to the manipulation of cosmic energy, and these powers help them in their ongoing war. Watching the scenes where the Eternals fight the Deviants, though, it's hard to escape the thought that some of their cosmic abilities are strictly better than others. A lot of their powers are pretty redundant. Yeah, they fight well as a team, but in the big combat scenes, it's pretty clear that some of these beautiful immortal gods are second stringers. Maybe they would kick ass on the Guardians of the Galaxy, but some Eternals' abilities are simply more powerful, flexible, useful, and fun than others. So, here's a rundown of who's really Thor-tier and who's just Starlord. Number 10. Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is definitely stronger and more enduring than the other Eternals, but he has a pretty limited cosmic power. He can make a shiny gold gauntlet around his fist and then punch stuff. Pretty badass when he's jumping into melee with a huge writhing monster, but he's a one-trick pony in combat, practically having only two moves. Hit the thing, and hit the thing again but harder. Okay, that was just one move. Geesh, his cooking skills, loyalty to his friend Thena, and overall philosophical ability all seem more useful for getting through life. Number 9. Kingo. Here is where you could argue that some of the Eternals have unbuilt special powers that make them cooler than they look. Given Kingo's joyful dealings with humanity, he might have some kind of enhanced charisma or manipulation powers that make him especially enjoyable to be around. Just having Kumail Nanjiani in the role practically counts as giving Kingo an extra superpower. But in terms of the Golden God special effects abilities they all have, Kingo's big thing is shooting energy lasers out of his fingers. It's a smaller, more limited version of the powers some of his other teammates have. Also, the movie never really lets him do anything cool with his finger guns. Yeah, except one Kamehameha. He's just there in the battle, sniping on monsters while other people do the heavy lifting. Number 8. Sprite. Sprite doesn't get much joy out of her ability to create thoroughly convincing simulations of seemingly anything she can imagine, and that's a shame, because it's a great power to have, really. Where her teammates have to focus on pretty much the same deviant slugging, pew-pewing, or eye-bolting every single time, Sprite gets to engage her creativity in every combat, with one of the Eternals' most flexible powers. Sure, her intangible illusions can't directly hurt her enemies, but she has an endless array of ways to confuse, distract, and disable them. And in a pinch, she can just disappear entirely, essentially giving Sprite the coveted power of invisibility as a free bonus. On top of that, her abilities have more potential than anyone else's in terms of letting her live an interesting life, whether she wants to mesmerize crowds with storytelling that comes with a 3D light show, or hit a bar in disguise. Number 7. Thena. Here's a question for you. Is Thena's acrobatic grace and skill with weapons in the movie meant to be a cosmic power, or just the result of endless practice and monomaniacal obsession with warfare? Either way, she's the group's flashiest fighter, which does count for something, and her ability to spin elaborate golden arms and armor out of thin air comes in handy for fighting things that constantly change form. This ability would rank higher if there were any sense that she could create something other than weapons, but then again, it is unclear whether that's the limit of her cosmic powers or to her imagination. Number 6. Ajax. To be clear, all of the Eternals seem to be blessed with enhanced strength, durability, reflexes, and fighting skills to the point where they all average out with each other. Even Ajax, the party leader, seems to rank as a Black Widow-level hand-to-hand fighter, if or rather when she wants to mix it up with Deviants. But her cosmic powers are pretty mundane. Yes, it is great to have a healer in the party, especially when you're immortal and don't want to spend eternity with a badly set broken leg or a permanently missing eye. But in the movie at least, the Eternals seem to be tough and practiced enough to not get hurt that badly in combat, which leaves Ajax to hang back and patch up the occasional flesh wound. If she got more involved in mortal affairs, her healing skills might be more exciting. Can the cinematic version of the character cure diseases, for instance? Instead, she's mostly the Eternals' low-grade medical field medic and comlink with their big red alien god. Fair enough, an important role, but not likely to be high on anyone's fantasy hero draft. Number 5. Druig. It's hard to rate Druig's powers without getting into the morality of mind control. Can something be a cool power if it's fundamentally unethical? There's a reason the comics version of Druig has been pretty consistently evil from the 1970s through Neil Gaiman's 2007 reimagining of Jack Kirby's characters. The movie version is more troubled and bitter than sadistic and monstrous, and there is a great big moral question that the film doesn't resolve. Is he doing humanity any good by controlling people to keep them from killing each other? Regardless, in terms of fighting Deviants, his power is well nigh useless since it doesn't seem to work on them at all. The best he could do is force humans to do the fighting for him, support the frontline fighters on his team by getting civilians out of the way faster, or make people forget about the Eternals after they move on. His power has a lot more applications outside combat than his peers' abilities, but you could argue that those applications are all pretty Number 4. Makari. Who doesn't love a good super speedster? The only thing wrong with Makari's powers is that, like most speed-oriented heroes, she seems a bit bored with the way the rest of the world operates at such a slow pace. Eternals takes a beat to show that her cosmic speed doesn't just let her hit an opponent 1,000 times while he's still figuring out that he's in a fight, and doesn't just let her run across the globe in a heartbeat. It also lets her read at a blistering pace, which explains her relentless hunt for new knowledge. Super speed is a reliable power fantasy, but finally having time to read everything just makes it even better. Number 3. Icarus. Icarus's cosmic energy stare is pretty intimidating, though it seems to limit him a little bit in battles, since he has to keep looking directly at whatever he's fighting, and that isn't always practical when he's trying to lead an adversary away from a fight, or fleeing. And it might be more impressive if it left more of a visible mark on Deviants, or had any use besides drilling holes in things. But as the only Eternal who can outright fly, he is above average in the ranking department. Number 2. Fastus. Is intelligence a superpower? I think I answered that in the Morbius video. Fastus wins one of these things is not like the other award for Eternal's cosmic powers, because it is so unclear what exactly his technological powers are in the movie, and whether they have any limitations. Is he just smart? Can he make anything he can envision? Sometimes he uses his cosmic powers to create technological objects, like his floating stepping stones in the movie's opening act, or the electrical tether weapons he uses in the final conflict. Yeah, and sometimes he just creates glowing golden blueprints for the mechanisms he's imagined. He seems to be super intelligent and super imaginative compared to some of the other Eternals, but is that a power or a personality? Really, it doesn't matter. He is one of the most useful and variable Eternals, and while his powers don't come into play during Deviant combat as much as the others, he can contribute more to the team than most in terms of widening their options and solving their problems. He also has more to contribute to humanity, if Ajax's rules and humanity's inherent destructiveness weren't both holding him back. Bonus: Eros. At the end of the movie, Thena, Druig, and Makari are on a mission to tell other Eternals across the universe that they've been nothing but pawns in a game to perpetuate Celestials by dooming the planets full of people the Eternals swore to protect. However, as the trio wonders why they haven't heard from the Eternals back on Earth, they get a couple of unexpected boarders. The first is Pip the Troll, voiced by Patton Oswalt. I repeat, Pip the effing Troll. In the comics, Pip teamed up with Adam Warlock, a character who will be introduced in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and played by Will Poulter. He was also a character who was harmed by Thanos and then later helped the Mad Titan only to be discarded. Later, Pip teamed up with Warlock and Gamora. His superpowers include teleportation and global locationing, hence how he and Eros ended up on the Domo, as well as superhuman strength. In Eternals, he acts as a herald of sorts for Eros, played by real-life god Harry Styles, who declares himself as the brother of Thanos. Also known as Star Fox, in the comics, Eros is the youngest son of Eternals Alaz and Sui-San. In contrast to Thanos, Eros was a fun-loving womanizer as opposed to the former who, it may surprise you, was not. In the comics, Thanos launched an attack on Titan that left their mother dead, which pushed Eros to join up with a handful of Titan survivors against Thanos, and eventually he teamed up with Captain Marvel and the Avengers. His comic book history has been fairly convoluted since then, and being the son of Eternals, he also has lots and lots of powers. Eros has the same abilities as other Eternals, including longevity, flight, accelerated healing, and super strength, speed, and endurance. The special power that distinguishes him from others is his psionic power to control people's emotions. However, his special power doesn't work on his big purple brother. Number 1. Cersei. The ability to change anything non-living into anything else seems ridiculously overpowered for a team where one person's whole deal is hitting things really hard. And when Cersei gets an upgrade and loses that non-living limitation, she basically becomes Watchman's Dr. Manhattan, but without his creativity and confidence. Most people watching Eternals will be able to come up with more exciting uses for this power than Cersei does, given its nearly infinite possibilities. At least she finds a way to make it count in the final battle. So, what do you think is the most powerful Eternal, and who is your favorite? I know you want to say Pip the Troll, but he doesn't count. Share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Until next time, peace out!